2.5 years after Ellis Ruley died, his house burned down. It was vacant at the time. Based on a story I heard from one individual who was a neighborhood boy at the time, it was unlocked. The fire occurred at 12:25 a.m. on a Saturday morning in August. The fire was so intense that it was visible from Franklin Square, which is approximately 3/4 of a mile to a mile away from that location. The Norwich Bulletin noted that the firemen could find no immediate signs of the fire's origin, which is not surprising because it was at full strength when the Bulletin article was written. The Bulletin article referred to approximately 100 spectators watching the fire. I've talked to 3 of them. One of them thought it was raining and there was lightning that evening, but a check of the relevant weather records indicates that it was clear, so lightning did not set the house on fire. At the time this fire occurred, it was owned by Marion Harris. She was up in Hartford and starting to suffer from severe mental illness. The property had a tax lien. The house was unlocked. It was basically stripped down. I do not believe there was current electrical service there based on her problems paying the bills. If there was no electrical service, that removes another possible source for fire. According to the FBI, there are 6 major motives for arson: revenge, excitement, vandalism, profit, criminal concealment, and extremism. Extremism is where racial discrimination would fall into. Well, let's go through these. Revenge doesn't really apply because Ellis Ruley's dead. He's been dead for 2.5 years. Excitement? Possibly. We had problems with various pyromaniacs in Norwich. Vandalism? Certainly. Profit? If Marion Harris is up in Hartford and she can't even afford to pay her taxes, the idea that she's going to have this property insured and the property was worth very little is kind of dubious. I don't think this was done as a crime for money. Crime concealment, that typically applies if you're trying to hide the cause for another crime like theft or murder. I don't believe it to be the case. When Ellis Ruley died, his paintings were removed from the house. I'll get to that later. Extremism? Unclear. Ellis Ruley's house burned down in August of 1961. That was 30 months after his death. Based on circumstantial evidence, I believe that the fire was caused by either arson or reckless burning, and I was not able to discover the motive for this act. It's also possible that someone was in the house, maybe a vagrant, maybe teenagers. They set a fire by accident. That's also a possibility. I can't prove that. There have been reports from there had been a report from one of the people I interviewed that vagrants were around the house. So, in conclusion, I think that the fire that devoured Ellis Ruley's property was a production of either being set intentionally or being set negligently. I just can't tell you the reason why.